everyone, it's Pat from Calm Sea Cruise, and today we're going to have 10 tips that every new cruiser should definitely take with them on their cruise, but won't take any space in your luggage. Number one, it begins before you even book your cruise. You need to know what kind of ship is going to produce what kind of cruise. Cruises that are short, 3 to 4 day cruises, will have a completely different vibe than cruises that are much longer, 7 to 9 to 10 day cruises. Different people will go on those cruises. If you are interested in a weekend getaway with lots of fun, lots of drinking, then those short cruises will work for you. If you're looking for a calmer time, something that's really, you can get into the ship and enjoy all the things that are on it, you might want to book a longer cruise. So always consider the type of ship and the length of cruise and what your expectations for what you want when you go on a cruise. Number two, you need to know what you need to bring with you as far as documentation goes. Cruises that begin and end in the United States, you may get away with just a birth certificate if you're from the United States. Otherwise, you're going to need a passport. It is always a good idea to take your passport with you. Just makes life easier. If you go with a birth certificate, you're going to have to take more time when you embark and disembark. The lines can be 2 to 3 times as long if you just have a birth certificate as opposed to having a passport. So my advice to you is take your passport. It'll make your life a lot easier. If you're traveling to or from Europe, you may need additional documentation. If you're going from the UK, you're going to need an ETA, electronic documentation, that the UK now requires for anyone that is coming or going from the UK. If you're going to Europe, you may need the ETIAS. It hasn't gone into effect yet. It may go into effect in 2026 when I'm recording this. It may not. But always be aware of what you need for documentation when you go on a ship. You don't want to be denied entry to a country or entry to a ship because you don't have the proper documentation. Number 3, know the embarkation port. Now, what do I mean by that? Cruises will leave from various places across the world, in the United States and other places. All these ports are slightly different. How are you going to get to the port? Are you flying there or are you driving there? Do you know how to park when you're there if you're driving? Do you know if you're going to need to get an Uber? Do you know if there's a shuttle from the hotel you're staying at? Always go the night before. I mean, it's really good advice. You don't want to have a travel problem make you miss your cruise. But once you're there, you need to know how to get to and from the embarkation port. You also should understand what kind of port it is. Some ports will be very easy to get through. Some ports will be more complicated. As an example, the Port of Miami is pretty simple to get through. It's multiple ports. There's lots of places to go. You can just go to the port in the right port that you're leaving out of and go from there. If you leave from Vancouver, it's a much more complicated embarkation. That port is hard to get through. Hawaii has much more strict regulations, it seems. They really check everything. So just be aware, watch some YouTube videos or something to make you more familiar with the embarkation port that you're leaving from. Number 4, be aware of the climate and the weather. What do I mean by that? Well, if you're going to the Caribbean in the summer, it's going to be hot. But the day you're leaving, it might be raining. There might be a thunderstorm. There might be a hurricane that's going to cause a disruption. So you want to be aware of the general climate of the places you go. So you don't want to go to Alaska in May and not bring a heavy jacket. But you also want to be aware of the weather that is happening at the time you're leaving. You don't want to get rained on. You don't want to run into a hurricane. You just need to be aware of these things, and it's very simple to check. You can just use any weather source to get the weather from any locale. Number 5, congratulations, you've boarded the ship and you're hungry. You need to have a plan of where you're going to eat. when you first get on the cruise. There are many options. Usually the buffet is always open on all the ships, but it's also going to be the most crowded place you could possibly go. The main dining rooms tend to be open on embarkation day. That's a lot more, lot less stressful place to go, a lot easier to get seated, and you'll thank me because it's just a more enjoyable place. There are also alternative places to eat, usually on ships. Those quick bite places. Be aware of what's on your ship and try to avoid the buffet if you possibly can. Number 6, you need to understand the captain of the ship's duty of care. What does that mean? Cruise ships are always going to take the safer route. If that means you miss a port, you're going to miss the port. If that means you're going to have to skirt around a storm, you're going to go around a storm. Cruise ships do not want to go through storms. They don't want to risk anything that could happen to you or the ship itself. So you have to understand when you go on a cruise, sometimes it's not going to be exactly like the itinerary said. There is a duty of care by the ship to make you safe. And they'll do everything they can to do that, and sometimes that means disturbing the itinerary. Number 7, you need to know what's included and what's not. And this is going to vary widely depending on the ship and the cruise line that you're going on. All cruises will include generally the main food, some drinks like water and juices, your room, cabin that's been selected or you select. But then it starts to vary. Are drinks included? Probably not. Maybe. It depends on the cruise line. You need to be aware so you can plan for what you need to expend once you're on the cruise. It's okay to spend on the cruise. Your cruise card will get you anything you want, but just remember, at the end of the cruise, you're going to have to pay for it. If you like to drink, get a drink package. You can do a math equation to see if it's worthwhile depending on how much you do. If you like to dine in specialty dining, you can arrange specialty dining. All of these things are available to you depending on the cruise line, but you need to be aware of what's included and what's not. Number 8, understand your own propensity for motion sickness. Cruise ships are massive. They're huge. They're not tiny boats. They don't get tossed around like Gilligan's Islands, but they do move depending on the weather. If you have a propensity to get motion sickness, you want to be prepared. There are many medications that are available that you can get over the counter that will help you. You want to have that with you if at all you have a chance of getting seasick. You don't want it to ruin your cruise, and it's very simple to avoid simply by taking medication before things start to happen. Depending on where your cabin is, you're going to have more motion. If you are in the front of the ship, you're going to have a lot of more motion than you would in the middle of the ship. The front of the ship will tend to go up and down with the waves. It's leading the charge into the waves. There's lots of noise in the front of the ship depending on how the waves are and whether when you're docking into a cruise port, that's where the bow thrusters are, the thrusters that can make a ship go sideways, and they will make noise there. So be aware, if you're in the front of the ship, you're going to have more motion. If you're in the rear of the ship, you're going to have more vibration, because that's where the screws are for the ship, and that churning of the screws, and again, the bow thruster that's in the rear is going to cause a lot of vibration in the rear of the ship. So just be aware. I don't want to dissuade you from the front or the aft of the ship, but just be aware that there's more motion there. If you have a propensity to have motion sickness, choose a cabin that's lower and in the middle of the ship. There is a way less motion there, and you'll have a better cruise. And you can do that right when you book your cruise. Number 9, know how to tip. Now, tipping on cruises is different than tipping other places, and I'm going to speak from the United States' perspective, or tipping culture. Cruise ships will have a way of either including gratuities or charging you for gratuities. Now, the gratuities are there to help pay for both the people you meet on the ship, i.e. your room steward, the waiters in the main dining room, bartenders, people that you see, but it's also paying for the people that you don't see, people doing your laundry, people cooking your food, all the maintenance staff that's there to keep the ship running. Your gratuities are for them too. So be aware of how to tip. And remember, if you give a tip to an individual, it's an extra tip. And that's great, because there are people on that ship, the crew on that ship is working exceptionally hard for you. And if you want to give an extra incentive or an extra bit of money to one of the crew members, they deserve it. So go ahead and do that. But understand that they get a tip already. And just be aware that it's okay to double tip, but you don't want to always double tip. It's just, you just have to do what you feel is right. But just remember that crew is working exceptionally hard, and they're working for you, and the gratuities are part of how they get paid. Number 10, and the last one, you need to pack your patience. Things don't always go as expected on a cruise. There can be changes to our itineraries, there can be lousy weather, there can be any number of things that may not meet what your expectations were for the cruise. But if you're going to go on a cruise, you kind of sign a contract that you're a cruiser, which means that you accept some of these things that happen and you just roll with it. There are many things to do on a cruise ship that are exceptionally fun and entertaining and worthy of your time. So even if there's a change in itinerary, it doesn't mean it's the end of the world, and you have to not take it too hard, and do not blame the crew if there's weather. They cannot control the weather. Don't blame the crew if they have to miss a port. There's a reason they did that. It's for your safety. Don't blame the crew if they change itinerary before you even make the cruise. There may be any number of reasons to do that. Civil unrest in the world today is all over the place, and sometimes they can't go to places that they thought they were going to be able to because of that. So you have to be patient, and you have to just accept that things are not always the way they're going to be on a cruise, but there's a lot of things that are above what you thought they were going to be. So just roll with the fun times and just go with it. So those are 10 things that you need to take with you when you go on a cruise, but they won't take any room in your baggage, and they won't add to your weight allowance. Again, this is Pat from Calm Sea Cruise. If you do like this kind of content, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and give me a big thumbs up if you can. We'll talk to you next time. Goodbye.